Good evening and welcome to Family Matters. My name is Edward Kabasa. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. The topic of discussion is parenting in the 21st century. Someone said that parenting does not come with a manual or menu, but after 40 years of marriage, Tom and Lynette Lichuma are sharing their experiences and telling parents out there what to do and what not to do. How do you raise your parents and your children, rather? And with 7 children, parenting is something that they are doing full time. Thank you very much for joining us. It is quite interesting considering the fact that not so many people get to stay together for over 40 years. But before we get to that, how did you meet?
How we met is a long story, but briefly, she'll say it first, because I met her through my cousin. And this cousin of mine was schooling together, so she frequently visited my aunt, and my aunt spotted her. So she sought a link so that we can meet, and that's how it started.
How long ago was that?
Quite some time back. That is since 1977. That is when we met first, when the aunt linked us. After I had visited the daughter several times, and she decided this lady, I must get her to my brother's son. And so she arranged, and then we met in 1977, and the rest is history. And
you still remember it like it was yesterday?
Yes, in fact, I still remember how we met and where we met and what we said 40 years down the line.
Wow. And 40 years, 7 children, how has it been? We know that there are those stories that, you know, you're a happy couple, but what people do not know is that behind the scenes there are struggles that have to be there. How have you navigated through all that?
One thing I have to say that marriage is work, and by work I mean both of us have to commit ourselves to making this marriage to work by journeying together as a team and committing ourselves to the relationship that it has to move on, and also to remember that we are both human beings who are subject to flaws and strengths. So we have to recognize the two in the marriage, so that when something happens, I shouldn't just dwell on the negative side of her life. I should also see all the good that she has and she comes with to the family. So this combined has kept us moving for all this time. And
Lynette, how has it been for you, considering the fact that it is women who carry the baggage and the load that comes with the word family?
Yeah, one of the things that has really helped us is communication, that we talk to each other freely and openly. And so we have been open to each other and free, and whenever I saw something that was not pleasing, I would say, and he would also do the same. And the second thing has been our faith, that we knew that on our own we cannot manage. So we put God first, and we have done the rest. We have had children coming one after another, because our children are 7, and they came in 3 sets. The first set came 79, 80, 81. The second set came one all alone in 1986. The third set came 91, 92, and then 97. So we have 3. Then there was the middle, then there was the younger ones. And with understanding that we have to bring up these children in the right way, and we worked together, God has helped us.
every family has to forge its own path, because you guys are authors. We're going to get into that. But each family has its own unique ways of bringing up their children. How did you sit down and decide that this is how we are going to bring up our children? These are the values that we are going to use, and these are the virtues as well that we're going to use?
I think for us, based on our background and our upbringing, we were both brought up in a Christian way.
Yes.
So we grew up seeing our parents being very religious and faithful to the church. So the way they brought us up was worthy emulating. So when you got married, we knew that there are challenges in upbringing of children, and especially when we don't cooperate with one another as parents. Because you find that sometimes bringing up children, when that responsibility is left to only one person, and let's say for that matter, the mother, you will find that it is too much for her, and children end up not growing up in the way you would expect them to. Because all of us, when we get children, we are expecting them to grow into responsible citizens of this country, because that's the job God has given us, that we bring up families so that society can grow. But what kind of society are we bringing up? So we learned that this is what we are supposed to do, and we agreed. We never put down anything on paper to say that this is the way we are going to bring up our children. We know the values of the family values. We know the virtues that are there. We know the church exists and our faith is there. So combined together, we just decided that we'll work with the children. And the two of us have worked with these children all this time, remembering that each child is unique. So we have to work with each one with the child's uniqueness up to the adulthood. And
Lynette, children pick attitude and the values and the virtues that they see from their parents. How do you do it as a parent? What do you show your child, and what do you not show your child?
One thing that we did a lot is to talk to them together.
Yes.
That when a child makes a mistake, we will talk to them together. With the one child, not all of them put together, but the one who has done a mistake, we sit her or him and talk to them alone, and they explain. And God brings two people who are unique. I am the one who was the disciplinarian. You know, I would say spare the rod and spoil the child. So mine was, if they make a mess, from 1 year, I'll take slippers and beat. Tom was the type that will talk to them, that beating for him, I will beat you if you make a mistake, I'll beat you if you do that, but he won't beat. So the two of us brought together. Now I would discipline a bit, and then he would help, but not saying mommy is bad. And then I would not say, go to your dad who wants to make you happy. We would bring them together and make them understand why that is happening.
All right. And you are authors. You've written books on parenting.
Sure.
Does it stem from the differences that both of you have in terms of your personalities?
When we came up with the idea of writing books on family life, actually we had looked at society and the direction society is taking at the moment, especially when it comes to family matters. We all agree that in the media and everywhere else, it is said that families are under threat, and especially marriages for that matter. So as much as we have different personality styles, we believe that God put us together for a purpose, because two human beings can never be the same. And when God pairs a couple, he really knows what I can bring into this marriage, and he also knows what she can bring into the marriage. I have my weaknesses and my strength too. and she has her weaknesses. But in most cases, you'll find that the two of us complement one another. Whatever I have, she doesn't have. And whatever she has, I don't have. So it's a matter of understanding one another, listening to each other to understand where do I come in. And this, at the end, it helped us to bring up these children. So these children have learned from us. And as I talk to you now, as they were growing, they knew that they can never go to their mom or to me to report anything, because we are doing everything together as a couple. So they knew that we are a team. And if anything went wrong, they know that my parents will talk to me, not my mom or my dad. Wow. So that's how, because we believe that children, they learn from what they see. So when they see us together, they know these parents are working together, and they'll always try to do what we expect them to do.
And yeah.
And something else is that we also went for seminars whenever there could be a seminar about family. We attended to learn more, because we started with what we grew up seeing. Then when we came together, we also have to learn from others. Then we also joined a movement of marriage encounter, worldwide marriage encounter, where we went, and with that we got to know more. So with our own knowledge and with what we have learned from others, and also the work we had been given at the church for instructing couples who are preparing to wed, because as you instruct them, you also learn from them, because it's you talk, they talk, so you exchange. So with that, then we thought, yeah, we can put something down in written form, so that when we are gone, at least people will read what.
And also another thing about the books, and especially the one that is talking about adolescence, we also understand that that's the stage that most parents fear. That's the age between 13 and 20. That's the most critical age, whereby children are trying to identify themselves with the society, with the world. They want their space. So they are bound to do many things that will either disappoint their parents or annoy them. So in this book, we are trying to explain to parents that this is a process that has to happen. It is a matter of knowing how to handle it, so that you are in good relationship with that child.
So many things happen during adolescence, and one of the things that I picked was love during adolescence is a must, but very risky. What does that mean?
You know, a girl at 13, when the hormones are working and the breasts have started coming out, and she knows the opposite sex, the boys are there.
Yes.
So they are bound to know, because they also learn even from their elder siblings that there's boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. So the first boyfriend that approaches her, she will feel like that is the whole world. And we said it is risky, because if she doesn't take care, her life can be ruined there, because at 13, from 13, a girl can conceive. So we tell them that you cannot stop them from mingling with boys. They have to understand each other. They go to school together, but they have to know their boundaries. If they don't take care, then the worst can come out. They can ruin their life within that teenage.
Is this one of the topics that parents find it really hard to engage their children in?
Actually, I would say it is the most difficult topic that parents fear most, because discussing with their children, especially on, let's say, sexuality,
yes,
most parents would shy off. And I think it's because of their upbringing, because when we are being brought up, we were told that we cannot discuss sexuality. By culturally, that's what we knew. And as we grew up, we knew that we cannot discuss that. So as a parent, I would really feel embarrassed to discuss with my daughter about sexuality. But in this book, we are telling the parents and we are telling the children what the parents cannot tell them, because there are certain things about sexuality that parents cannot tell their children. So we thought it wise that we put it down, so that the children who read this book will understand what their parents shy off from telling them.
And sometimes, Edward, it is not the parent fears to talk about, because I don't know how innocent my child is, so I don't want to start. I might introduce them. And sometimes you are thinking like that, but the children know so much, especially the current generation.
Yes.
What they watch privately so much. So we think we are protecting, yet there is nothing actually we are doing.
So, because I wanted to ask, because right now there is a social media, the internet is filled with all manner of things, the good things and the bad things. Where do you start? Do you let your child bring up the topic, then you continue from there, or you suggest something?
You see, as they grow up, they'll see things happening to them, and they'll come to you to ask. And when they come to you to ask, don't dismiss them. For example, a girl will come and say, my breast, I'm feeling some pain, or I'm feeling something hard in my breast. Don't just dismiss and say, go away, and don't talk about that. Mm-hmm. Sit the child down and explain plainly what is happening to her. That is one process of growth. Because if you just dismiss her, definitely she'll just know, because we have social media, we have the internet, we have everything, and all these kids are open to it. This generation now, there's nothing that parents can hide from them, because already they know. But it's a matter of parents talking to them so they understand the dangers that they would be involved in case they venture out of the boundaries. But if parents cannot talk to them, then they'll do what they are learning, you see. But once the parents talk to them, they will know that these are boundaries. So even if they go beyond the boundary, they'll do it, but they'll know that our parents have told us that this is not the right thing to do at this time. Mm-hmm. So it is good to keep on communicating with them instead of dismissing them.
And what sort of values? I know we did mention values, but what sort of values are there, are important to instill in children at an early age? Those values that are going to be the anchor upon everything that they do.
Yeah, one thing is that they have to respect themselves. Mm-hmm. They have to respect their bodies. Their bodies is the temple of the Holy Spirit. So they have to respect it so that they don't misuse it. And then they don't have to jump into life before they reach the maturity, because everything has a time. There's time for going to school, and they have to get all that they need. Mm-hmm. Then after that, the rest of the things can come in.
Maybe just to add another value that we value,
yes,
it's honesty. Yeah. Because if the children can be honest with you, then you have to cultivate it. If they come to you and tell you something about their body or about themselves or about what others have told them, be honest with them and try to explain in the best way possible so that they understand what is happening. So when they know that you are honest with them, and then they'll always be open to you and they'll tell you things that will help you to manage them to grow responsibly. And
nowadays, life has become so hard because you have to balance between work and parenting. Kenyans, we retire at 55, others retire at 60. And we have seen parents delegate some roles to house helps. There is one that there are parents who are too busy and even dedicate family weekend outings to house help. Is this the parenting style in the 21st century?
I would say that parenting in the 21st century is close to that, because everybody is in a hurry. Mm-hmm. They are busy looking for money, chasing careers at the expense of the family. But one thing that I have to say is that family time must be there, because it is so important. Because if parents don't allocate time to their family, they live to regret, because it will be too late. Because nobody can stop growth. And when children are growing, they never stop and they keep on growing. Unless the values are instilled in them as they grow. Let's say from age 5 up to the adolescence into adulthood, then they would live to regret. So as much as we are busy, as much as we are chasing careers and even business and money, we must remember that the family is the basic unit of society. And if we cannot build the family from the society at the root of the family, then the whole society will be ruined. So it is our responsibility that God has given us as parents, that we nurture these children, bring them up. So that time, we must allocate time for the family.
And maybe in addition, you know, as much as we parents are working, we also worked, we have retired. Mm-hmm. We know the working hours. If there are people who are in shifts, they know their shift time. So if we are working in the normal office hours where work ends at 5, and give it 2 hours traffic jam, then at least by 7, both parents should be in the house to see their children, to know how they fared in school, and so that the children can go to sleep when they have seen the parents. Mm-hmm. But see, you see, if one parent if parents have to follow the career, then they have to agree. They don't have to go to school, both of them. We go to school together. I want to add my education to increase, you know, maybe get a degree. He also wants, and we are going at the same time at the expense of the children. One can do finish, and then another one can do, so that at any one particular time, at least the child is there. And then on Sunday, there are no offices where they are working, except places like here but you have programs. Yes. Otherwise, where they work Monday to Friday, then Sunday has to be dedicated to the family. They take the children with the mother and go out, just walk in Uhuru Park, in whatever. It doesn't have to be an expensive venture. Sometimes parents work so much accumulating money to wait for December to go for holiday in Mombasa for 2 weeks, and thinking that now that is time for, but the whole 1 year, well, you don't know what the children have been through.
So to answer you, that one is not parenting, it's bringing up children. Parenting is working with the children. But if you are delegating that responsibility to a house help, you are just bringing up children, but you are not parenting. Parenting is working with them.
And so that you can know your children.
Yes, and they can know you.
And they can know you.
And let me ask this. How many house helps should one have? Let's say you have 7 children.
Yes.
How many house helps have you employed over the years?
At one time?
Yes.
No, at any one time we used to have just one house girl.
How many years did the house help stay?
Oh, okay, like we 5 years. Yeah. There's one we stayed with for 10 years. Mm-hmm. That was our advantage, and it actually is not advantage. It's the way you want to look at those houses. You are leaving them your precious children, and you are mistreating them. So if you mistreat them, they will keep running. So if you keep changing, it is also affecting the children.
Yeah, because there's someone who said that if you have a daughter, for example, and this girl sees 5 house helps before she turns 3 years, then she will not realize that her body, for example, because it is the house help who bathes her, she will not realize that, you know, her body is supposed to be private because she has had 5 house help.
True.
This is something that most parents do not understand. How important is it to ensure that that house help that you are hiring or employing is supposed to stay there for a very long time?
You see, for a house help to stay there for a long time, it means that the conditions under which she's living are conducive. But you find that let's say most mothers, for that matter, because for us men, we are almost passive in that area, you will find that they are too harsh on the house help. And you can imagine that every morning you leave, and you leave her with the kids. And maybe she doesn't get enough food. The food is, they allocate food for her for the day, which could be so little. For us, what we did, that any house help who lived with us, we took that lady as part of our family, just like our own daughter. So that whatever we are doing, or if it is our family out, we go together. If it's meal time, we have our meals together, and everything was being done together. And I think that's one of the reasons why they stayed with us for all those years. I can say that we never changed house help. We can count the number we had for the 7 children we had. And you can imagine 7 children. At one time, all of them were in the house because they came one by one and they all were there.
All right.
Yeah.
So what is the source of a happy marriage?
The source of happy marriage. Number one, I said earlier that marriages is work. You have to work. The two of us have to work to make ourselves happy in that marriage. And there are 3 things I'm going to mention that would make a marriage to be a happy one. Number one, the way you communicate with each other. Because there are many ways that we can communicate, both negative and positively. If I always communicate negatively with her, it means that either I'm insulting, I'm criticizing, you know, seeing the negative side of my wife. And to make this marriage or the communication to be vibrant, we must talk about positive things. Of course, the negatives will come there, but we have to go over them in a friendly way and affectionate way. That is one area that people have to look at, the way we communicate with one another. For us, it has helped us, and for all these years, I think communication has been key in our relationship. It has kept us together all this time, to the tune that some of our friends and even people, they keep on asking either us or her or myself, what do we talk all the time? Because we are always talking wherever we are. Irrespective of the area, we are always talking at. They just can't understand what we talk about.
Lynette, there is something in the Bible, it's called submission. This is something that the definition has been changing from time to time. And I'm really sure in the next 100 years it will be different. But what submission should take place in a family, especially when it comes to the relationship between the husband and the wife, with respect to each one knowing their roles in the family?
The submission comes in because it's in the Bible, Ephesians. It says, husbands love your wives, wives love your husband and submit to them. And then when we think of submission, we think of 2 words, love and respect. Love and respect are 2 very important words in the family setup. But the 2 of them, the 2 words, the intensity differs with the gender. For men, what they value most, what Tom values most is to be respected. When I respect him, he feels his place is secure. For us women, what we value most is to be loved. When he shows me love, that respect will come automatically. So when we love and respect each other, and I respect him so that I can earn that love, and then he has to love me to earn that respect. But let me give you an example. If we were to go to visit our parents-in-law, when they were still alive, of course they have all rested. But if we go and then we find, of course, they are younger sisters, and you know sister-in-laws can be very difficult sometimes. So she does something to me that is not pleasing, or she talks words that are not pleasing to me. Then when I tell him, he says, that is not something to worry you. And then he sides with them. Maybe I'm in our sim, you know, that is the house, our house, yes. But he's busy with the parents, and he leaves me alone. So I imagine now they are talking about me, they are doing what. That way, he's not showing me love. And when he comes, my respect will just, when it reaches a time, I tell him, no, go and tell her, your sister, to do for you. So love and respect have to work together. But ladies, when they are loved, when they are shown love, they respect. And when men are respected, they love. So we have to do our duties.
Maybe just to add on submission still, is that most women confuse submission with weakness. Because when you tell her to submit to her husband, she imagines that now I'm subdued. So that now I'm weak, you know, they take themselves as being weak if they submit to their husband. But submission is power. Because if you get an arrogant, a polite and affectionate woman, obviously even the husband will tone down, even if it's the harsh type of a husband. But if you get an arrogant woman who cannot submit to the husband, that means there will always be problems coming up there will be struggles, almost like power struggles within the family, which is set up, which is not supposed to be, because the Bible is clear about submission. And submission is not weakness. Actually, it's power within the family. When the wife submits, I think the relationship and environment within the family setup improves also. But if she cannot do so, then there will always be conflict between her and the husband. And at the end of it, the children are the sufferers in this game.
Okay. And Lynette, differentiate between a child who has a father figure and a child who has been brought up by a single mother. Okay,
a child who has been brought up by a single mother understands only female language. The female language. Whatever the mother talks to her, most times it's what I can talk to her, because you know I cannot become a man to show her or him what men do. So that child just knows about the mother, the way the mother disciplines, and woe unto that child if he or she goes to school and finds the teacher is a female. So the child is just under the guidance of a female throughout. So there are things that he or she will miss out. But a child who has a father figure in the home will know when to do what is expected. The child will get from both the mother and the father, and this child will be complete.
Because what we offer to the child as parents is different. What the mother gives them and what I give, put together, it makes the child to grow now responsibly with inputs from both sides, from the mother and myself. Because when God created us, He knows exactly what my role is in child upbringing and her role. So as she has said, if it is a single mother, then the child will grow with more of feminine attributes than, obviously there will be no male attributes, because there are things that men do that women don't do. So if a child cannot see that, he'll just know that whatever the mother does that's the norm.
And sometimes maybe discipline could also lack, because if I am bringing up a child alone and this is all I value, and it depends on how it happened that I'm doing that alone. So I protect so much that such a child, like especially when he's a boy, when now he gets married, he expects the wife to treat him the way the mother was treating him. And a wife is not going to pamper you like a mother. So there are things that miss.
And is marriage for everyone?
Marriage for everyone?
Yeah, is marriage for everyone? Because there are those who say that, you know, they're good, marriage is not for them.
Okay.
Is marriage for everyone?
For me, I would say that I'll go back to, of course, Christianity and the book of Genesis, when God created man and woman. Actually, in God's mind, He wanted male and female to live together as a couple. That is my understanding of that scripture verse. But as you put it, is marriage for everyone? I would say, like the Catholic Church, we have nuns who are not married. We have the priests who are also not married, but they have got a bigger family they are taking care of. But for us others, that is where the way forward. Let us get into these marriages, beget children, build society, and fill the earth.
All right.
How is the generation going to go on if
we don't? And we get many children.
We'll talk about your books in a couple of seconds, but what sort of strength should there be in a woman? Because the woman is the backbone of a family. How strong as a woman should you be?
Patience. A woman has to be patient. If you want to jump to conclusions in a hurried way, then you lose it. Then you also have to be understanding. You have to understand, and then a woman has to be a good listener. If I am not listening, maybe I have accused him, and I don't want to give him time to explain himself. I jump to conclusions, then I miss the point. So.
And how do you? I know there are values in her that probably she's unable to see, but you are able to see those values. How do you help bring them out?
Like us, depending on our personality styles, yes. She's quick in deciding on things. Me, I have to analyze situations and take my time to do these things. That's a weakness on my side. But for her, she makes those decisions as fast as that. But occasionally, she succeeds. Sometimes she fails. Because if she doesn't give a situation deep thought before making that decision, sometimes it backfires on her. So with this in mind, I want to say that I see that now because I've seen that attribute helping the family in one way or another. And even for her, she has seen my patience and analyzing the situations, helping the family get over certain issues that crop up within the family. And that's why I said initially that both of us have got a role to play in this family, so that these children that are looking at us as we bring them up, they are able to tap on some of these things. Like our case about discipline, they know that I'll talk to them, and they know that she can plank them.
All right.
Yeah, so all this put together.
Is there anything like an irreconcilable difference? Those things that you cannot work out, that divorce is the only option?
For me, that cannot be, because you know, when Jesus taught us the prayer of our Father,
yes.
Forgive others the way you would want. There's no human who is perfect. I am not perfect, he's not perfect, our children are not perfect. We are bound to make mistakes. Let us sit down and talk and agree and move on. Because when we say, okay, this one I cannot, it has to be divorced, then after that, what happens? Most of them rush into that, and then they come to feel lonely, because you know, you imagine you have been used to companionship, the intimacy, then now you have separated. So you will go looking for other homes to ruin.
But divorce can never bring happiness. It will not restore happiness in your life, in her life or in my life.
Yeah.
The best way to handle this is to dialogue. Sit down, look at the situation and the reason why this conflict has come up. Try to do it, the two of you or the two of us. If we cannot get over this, we can also involve a third party to help us get over the situation. Because when we get into marriage, we are not getting into marriage as a trial. We are getting into marriage that we are going to be committed to this relationship. So whatever happens, we should just dialogue, get over it and work on. And that's what we have been doing for all these years. It doesn't mean that ours has just been a smooth road, but how we handle the challenges that have been coming along the way is what has brought us up to this level.
All right, and as we wind up, I know we'll still talk about the books, but how important is it to marry the right person? Because the question is, how do you know that this is the right person? Those are two things. How is it? Why is it important to marry the right person, and how do you know that this is the right person?
Okay, I'll answer one, she'll do the other one. Yes. How do you know the right person? For me, I believe that when God brings you together, he has a reason for doing that. How you'll know the right person is that marriage, you don't just meet in the street and get into marriage. It is a process. So within that process, there is a learning period whereby you are trying to mold yourselves into a couple. That's the time you'll know the person you are dealing with. You'll know how they react to situations. You'll know how they behave. You'll know what they can do and what they can't do. It's a process that you learn. When you find that there's so much confrontation between, you don't seem to agree on anything. Any suggestion that comes up is just difficult to agree. Then you can start saying that maybe this is not my rib. So you try to drift apart. Naturally, you'll drift apart. But where you agree, and when there is something to discuss, you discuss and agree, then you can slowly tell that this could be the right person. But over a period of time, then you can really get the truth that this is what God has planned for me. It is not just something that you'll just do it instantly.
All right, Lynette?
And you can only know that you made the right choice when now you come together, you start staying, and the masks have been removed, and you are in your true colors, but you still have that friendship. That we will quarrel, yes, we will disagree, but still we will feel for each other. That time you are separated, you are feeling annoyed, but you are feeling that when you are hurting, you feel he's also hurting. Then also what makes us know that you are married to the right person, when you are communicating, you just agree the way Tom said. You are anything, you decide, I'm thinking separately, we want to go for shopping, so I'm thinking about Nakumat, and he's thinking about Naivas or Uchumi. And when we talk, we agree.
Yes.
We don't have to argue, then we agree. And with age, as we grow older, like at our age,
yes,
it reaches a time when we are thinking something. When I say it, Tom says, I was thinking about the same thing. And we just say, this was God made.
All right. Let me have this two and then the other two, so that we can mention them briefly. This is breaking the shackles of adolescence, the safe passage through teenage into adulthood.
Yes.
So this one, you are talking to parents together on how to...
We are talking to parents together with the children. Actually, it's meant for the teenagers.
All right.
Yeah.
And then there is parenting in the 21st century, where the discussion tonight is borrowed from. There's a very big difference between how you were brought up and how you brought up your children. And your children's children will also be brought up differently.
Yeah.
So how important is it for these two generations to borrow ideas from one another, so that when the next one comes, it is seamless?
You see, in these books, we are trying to put down values that are not supposed to change.
Yes.
Something like honesty is something that will move across generation to generation. So in the book, we are trying to explain, as much as society is changing, but these values will remain. And we have tried to explain these values in this book so that generations can understand that this is what will be there, whether generation change or not. These values will remain, like honesty, like kindness, faith, mercy, faithfulness.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And then there is to the altar and beyond, understanding the source of happiness in marriage. What is this one about?
This one it is our signature book, the first book we wrote. We thought that we have been talking to couples, preparing to go to where we are involved in marriage encounter, and so we have to put down some of the things that make couples drift apart. Mm-hmm. To the altar means now on the wedding day, after that.
Okay.
After beyond the wedding day, what you expect, at least just in summary, so that somebody can build theirs on, okay. Not that ours is the perfect one.
All right, and then there is the strength and courage of a woman. Yeah. It is important for a woman to be strong in marriage.
Very.
So what sort of things are you discussing in this?
In this book, we are discussing about the virtues of a woman, the values of a woman, mm-hmm. where she draws her strength from, and without her, the marriage will not stand. So we are trying to explain that we men, we should understand this woman we are dealing with. Okay. Because most men don't understand women, and if you cannot understand your wife, then it becomes very rough, because there are things that they do that we don't understand, but in this book we have explained all this so that husbands can understand, and even some women can understand themselves.
Okay. So where can we buy these books?
At the Catholic Bookshop, mm-hmm. and also Holy Family Basilica, the youth container. Then we have Strathmore, mm-hmm. Fontana Bookshop at Strathmore, Consolata Shrine, and
Chania
Bookshop, and Good Shepherd Bookshop near
Kenya Cinema.
Okay. Yeah. And then I think we have a minute to go. When I was trying to arrange the set, I told you to sit on the other side so that Lynette can sit on this side, and you insisted that you have to sit here, and Lynette sits on the left. On the left.
Yes.
Could you explain why?
This is a tradition, I would say, but not really a tradition. Uh-huh. But we believe that Adam, the one who was created by God first, yes. he slept. And then one rib was removed. It was removed on his left side. So this lady here has come to fill in that gap. Ah.
Also, the traditionally that, his right, that hand is the one that will protect me. Yes. When we are like this, if an enemy comes, he will hit the enemy with that and protect me with the other. Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. Yeah. Welcome. And Tom, I wish you the very best.
Thank you.
And I have to say, my parents have also been married for, I think, equally the same period, 40 years. So listening to you has been like listening to my parents speak. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you.
That does it for us for Family Matters for this week. I hope you learned something. My name is Edward Kabasa. On behalf of the team here, have yourself a very wonderful week ahead, and thank you very much for watching.